Hi everyone, so welcome to the project introduction for how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. My name is Elliot Minns. I've worked on a few previous projects here on LiveEdu, as you can see on the left-hand side there, mainly focused in the cryptocurrency space. I work as a cryptocurrency engineer and work on various different coin projects and things like that. So what we're going to be talking about in this series is basically we're going to be covering what it takes to add cryptocurrency payments to your website. So why would you want to do this? Maybe you currently use something like Stripe or PayPal and are sick of the 3% fees that they charge on top of everything. Perhaps you're pro cryptocurrency, pro Bitcoin, and you want to start accepting payments. So this is the kind of course that will get you up and running. What we're going to do is basically take a sort of dummy site called BitBooks. It's very limited in functionality, but it's basically meant to be an ebook store, and we'll take away from the payment flow that we do have, and we'll add cryptocurrency payments to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll go through the curriculum as well. So in session 1, we basically set up the environment, we get introduced to BitBooks, choose the version of Node we're going to use, and add basically the cryptocurrencies to the payment selection form on BitBooks. Then in session 2, so there's a little bit of a different format in this one before I continue on. These sessions try to be around 15 to 20 minutes length in time, a lot shorter than what they usually are. However, some of them do end up extending to about 40 minutes, but only a couple. So in session 2, we create an orders endpoint. So we basically add an endpoint to get our orders off of, or basically to create a new order and store it in the backend, so basically assign it a cryptocurrency address. So it's kind of slightly different, but normally in a payments list system you would create an order when they pay, but this one you create an order beforehand, or at least like a purchase order, and then you send it to the user. Then in session 3 we basically add the order schema to the database and go through all of that. So once we've got the dummy, we then tie that up with our API, so we're actually creating an order and returning that back. Session 4, we then query Bitcoin price data, which is very important. So we're converting our US dollar value into Bitcoin value with the live price index, and we're going to be using CoinDesk for that. Then session 5, we talk about BIP39 and HD wallets, and don't worry too much what they are. In that, BIP39 is BIP stands for Bitcoin Improvement Protocol. Bitcoin Improvement Proposal. Basically allows you to do higher deterministic wallets. So it's a really secure way of storing your funds without having to store them, have a node online or anything like that. So your funds aren't going to get hacked as long as you keep that mnemonic phrase, which we'll go into detail, but as long as you keep that phrase secret, your funds will be safe. So it's a really safe way of doing things. Allows you to create, unlimited amount of addresses that you need, and you will be able to get those addresses back in the future. So next thing we got is QR codes and BIP21. So BIP21 is another protocol. It basically allows you to sort of encode data in a string so that you can, get people to send you X amount of coins to a Y address, and you can encode it into a QR code, and it will work across various different wallets. So that's what BIP21 is. So we'll be getting into that in session 6. Session 7, we'll be looking at Socket.io, so we'll be adding WebSocket support to our front end through Socket.io. The reason we chose Socket.io is because it's a little bit easier to get up and running quickly. Session 8, the Coin Daemon. So we're going to be getting Bitcoin up and running in a testnet. We do use testnet throughout this, so that there's no risk of losing funds. So we'll go into that. We'll talk about how you can get some testnet coins for free and basically use that to develop with. Session number 9, then we'll look at wallet and block notifications. So this is tying up into the daemon so that we can get notifications back from when we get a wallet update. So when our address is that we've told the daemon to look, keep an eye out of, we'll get an update back to our server for that, like a callback. And the same with block notifications. So every time there's a block, we want to just check to make sure that we improve our confirmation on our transactions. And then in session 10, we wrap everything up. So we basically add the little things behind the scenes to make sure that when you've had enough confirmations of a transaction, that you then send your ebook, as in BitBooks' case, to the customer. and you just basically making sure that everything's secure. So that's it. There's 10 sessions, quite a lot of sessions, but the sessions are usually shorter than in other videos. We're going to go on in this in JavaScript, Node.js, MongoDB, and Vue.js. So yeah, it's a really fun course. I hope you enjoy it and look forward to getting started. Hi everyone, so welcome to session 1 for how to accept cryptocurrency payments on your website, or how to build a cryptocurrency payment system on your website. So today we're going to be looking at getting our environment set up. We're going to be using Node version 10 for this, and we've already got a pre-built site, BitBooks, if you read the description, which is basically just a quick e-commerce site that I put together, and we're going to integrate our coin payments or crypto payments into that site. So in this session we're just going to quickly set up everything. So first of all, what you want to do is, if you're using MVM, which I highly recommend, you want to do MVM install 10. I believe this system already has installed. Yep, so let's do it. MVM use 10. Perfect. Next thing we want to do is, let me just check that I'm in the right place. Yep, we want to clone the BitBooks project. So git clone https hard.com/bitbooks/bitbooks.git. Cool. And we go to BitBooks, and like before, we have 2 Docker files. Now we need to create something called a secrets file in here, so we'll just do that now. I'll explain what this is, and we need to get an API key for it. Now, stupidly, I deleted my API key, so let's get it back in. So what you want to do is you want to go to google.com, and you basically want to get a Google API key for books. For the books API, I won't go into too much detail, but there will be a description on how to do that. You don't need to do it for your point, but because I work behind a VPN, it's better just to get an API key. So you want to get Google API key. Let's just have a look here. Google Books API key. So yeah, go to Google and generate an API key. You want to go into your credentials pages and you just log in, which is what I'm doing now on the other screen. Okay. And you'll probably see my API key, but I'll make sure I delete it. Alright, perfect. Then you just want to go into your web, and I'll create another thing, and you want to do npm I, as usual. Go into the API and do the same. So you just want to install everything via npm. And then we'll take a quick look at the site. I did fire up. Let me just split this up. Just gotta enter in my authenticator as usual. Let me just do that, and then I'll share my screen with you. Alright, so if we have a look, you can see it's pretty standard. Pretty standard in here. We've got a few things. Let's do npm run dev, so we get this up and running, and we can run the API. We'll just do Daemon here, make sure this is all working fine. Secrets. Can't read Mongo URL of undefined. That's probably because the secrets.json. So let's have a look. Source. Okay, I've got an idea. Let me just fix that in. Should be here. Secrets.json, yeah. Okay, that's because it lives under environment. So let's just go up a directory. And here what we want to do is we want to just do this. Make sure you've got your environment variables set up. That was my mistake. But of course, what we can do is this as well. And make sure you've got MongoDB set up as well. That's something I should have mentioned. So you'll see I've got no MongoDB server, so I'll just do that now. System control enable Mongo start. Yep, so make sure MongoDB is running. Install it in your system, however. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know how to do that. Cool, let's go into the API console. So you basically want to go into your Google APIs. I'll just share that now. There we go. So Bitbooks. Just go to credentials. Create an API key as I've got here. Perfect. And then add it to your secrets, like so. And everything's running. So if we have a look at the website now. Didn't like that for some reason. Probably because I got to rebuild. Let's do that. Not sure why it's not enjoying this. Okay. And there we go. So this is the Bitbooks website. It's pretty bog standard. You've got a view products. So you click the products and nothing happens apparently. So let's determine why that's the case. Alright, so access is not defined. Let's double check that. So these are probably issues that you will also go through, so I'm going to make sure we resolve them. Let me have a look at the terminal screen. So you can see we've got a bunch of issues here, which is fine. So let's make sure we got access. So what we want to do is, let me switch back to web. Perfect. Okay, so we'll go into our credentials. We've got our credentials here, but we probably want to enable them in the dashboard. So let's do enable API services. We'll search for books, and there's the Google Books APIs. Enable. So once that's enabled, we should be able to access it. It takes a little bit of time. This is where you want to do it. Perfect. Let's reset. Okay, let's try again. Perfect. So that was it. We just need to set that up. I'm kind of glad that got shown. And you can see we got a bunch of books here. So we've got like The Lord of the Rings, Great Expectations, The Hobbit, Rivers of London, blah, 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 blah. And let's say we want to buy one of these books. We go here. And we currently have just a pay with card. Now this doesn't work. We haven't set out the back end for that kind of EPOS system. But what we want to do is we want to add pay with cryptocurrencies there. So let's add that so we're good to go on this session, shall we? So what you're going to want to do is let's change to terminal plus web as usually do. So we've got the pay with card down there. Let's go into our web and we'll make that change. So we can have a crypto. We won't even have the crypto form actually. We haven't got that yet. Okay, so we go into checkout.view. It's worth having a little read of this code. You should have seen the GitHub URL there, but I'll make sure it's in the description. And let's see. So we'll have another element here called. It's not active at this stage, but we'll add in the code to make it active. We won't have the link, I don't think. Well, let's do it anyway. So call it pay with crypto. Whichever crypto you want to support. We're only supporting one coin, so we're just going to do it like that. There it is right there. Very nice. Let's make it clickable, shall we? So let's state equals card. The if state equals card. That's a good little VF there. And then we can just do some clicks. So let's do some methods. Method. Okay. We'll do const ID. We'll just do some computed as well, I think, actually. We're going to do some computed values. I just want to do is card. Return state equals card. Just because we're going to be using this before, and then we'll just do is crypto. Return state equals crypto. Okay. Now, let's do that. We'll get rid of this. Okay. So the first thing we want to do, if state equals card, let's just change this to the is card. That works nicely. And we're going to do is active is card. Let's do that. Just to remain active, and then we'll do li class equals is active equals, and this one we'll do is crypto. Okay, so we got his crypto here and his card there. Now let's go about changing this. So in this, what we want to do, let's just separate these out because they're getting a little bit chunky. I want to try and keep everything nice and secure. All right. Okay. So let's add the click elements, not clock. Click equals card clicked. We'll just do that, and we'll do here. And click equals crypto clicked. And we'll just add some simple methods in here. So that should be enough. We got a couple of elements here. We just need to do this dot state. So let's do that. All right. And we need triple equals because Alright, let's give it a go, shall we? Okay, cool. So it definitely works. The issue we've got though is the isActive is not showing up. Okay, let's see if we can do this then. Let's just try state equals card. State equals crypto. So it looks like that should be fine. That's not the issue here because we've got the everything else. So let me just double check on the view. I'll leave that there. Oh, okay, I know what the issue is. We need to do this. And that should be it. Okay, so we've added in a tab now, so you can see where we're going with this. We're going to basically add in, underneath this, we're going to add the form that we're going to be able to use to fill out and obtain the cryptocurrency address and do some payments. We're going to add things like WebSockets and stuff as well later on, as is in the description. So that's the first session today. We've basically got set up. Make sure you've got MongoDB running. Don't make the mistake I did. And make sure you get a Google API key for Google Books, because that's where we get all the nice information. If you're not doing, BitBooks, or if you're building something yourself, then feel free to use whatever you need to do. But this is just for the example. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in session 2. Hey everyone, so welcome to session 2 on how to incorporate cryptocurrency payments into your website. So in this session, what we're going to do is we're going to basically add a bit more to the front end. We're going to basically be able to make a request to the API. I'm going to set up an endpoint so we can take an order. So we'll take like a pricing value and things like that. So that's going to be basically, it's a bit of maintenance work before we actually go into what we want to do with the cryptocurrency stuff, but it just gets us in a nice place. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new route within your orders API. So open up orders within the BitBooks API first of all, and we'll just add a create to create a new order. Basically, it's a bit like a get, but it's really a create route. So let's do this. So we'll do route.post, and we can do this.create order. Okay, perfect. So now we want to create a function, so we do exports.create order equals function context. And let's make it async as well, because it is an asynchronous function. Okay. So in this route, what we want to do is we want to, for the moment, we're going to create the route. So we're going to a controller here. Did we even create a model? We did not. All right, well, we don't need to do anything at the moment. Let's just do our controller thing here. So exports.create equals async function. We don't really have any parameters at the moment, but we probably want to do a price. And I guess time and date will be created anyway. So price is probably fine. We could put stuff like the book in as well if we want to do that. We can do book ID or product ID. That's fine. And the product does have the price in there as well, so we can just have product ID. We don't need to worry too much about price. Although I think in this one we'll do price as well, just because the price and the product ID might change. The product, yeah, so you might want to change the product ID in the future. So we'll just leave it as the price, and you can expand this out to be like baskets and stuff like that as well, if you've got like a checkout system. So we'll leave that at that. Okay, so we've got product ID, price, date and time, everything. I guess we'll be creating. Let's just return something. So we'll return. We'll do an ID of A, B, C, D, E, and we'll just basically stub this out. We don't want to rely too much on this, and that will do. That will do. We're also going to return something called address, but we're not going to worry too much about this. And we're going to return amount. The amount will be in full spaces, not decimals, so we'll just do 100. Now we might want to return the amount in a string. Could make sense. Let's do that. All right. Looking good. So we're just basically stubbing this out. Let's add this in here as well. Body equal, or ctx.body equals await controller.create. And we can do ctx. Is it body? I don't think it is body. I think it's maybe data, but we'll figure that out shortly. Sorry about that. Just had a couple of notifications I wanted to deal with. Okay, so just create the context.body. I think that should be fine. Let's give this a run at the moment and see what happens. Of course, make sure you start your MongoDB instance. Okay, so we started the MongoDB instance. Let's restart this. Cool, we're good to go. Let's just curl and see what happens. We might need to add it to our routing as well. Nope, we're good there. So we'll just do a post here of orders. I'm going to do API/orders. Okay, good. So, I mean, we got a bunch of errors. That's because we don't have anything coming in here. So let's try that. All right, so we get the response. So that's all we want to do there. So we're basically creating an order. We're not actually doing it. We're just going to implement the route. And what we're going to get back, you see, is an address and an amount, which are the two things that we kind of want to make sure we do contain. That's going to be important for us later on when we sort of actually get actual routes back from the orders that we're creating. But initially we just want to get this set up so that we're in a decent place to sort of go into the more Bitcoin-based concepts, and we're not worrying too much about what's going on. So let's add our API for orders as well. Right, so we're importing Axios from Axios, and export default async create. Now create wants to take it a product, so we can do that. And we want to take it a price as well, but I think product has the price in this case, so we can do that. Right, perfect. So we'll do return axios.post API orders, and we'll do const data equals product ID. And what else do we want? Price. Product. Price. If you're building your own website, fit this to sort of your own purpose, but this is what we're doing in this example. And then we just want to do then and make sure we just get back the data. Okay, perfect. Let's see if this works. It should be fine because we're not actually importing anything else in that's new. But what we want to make sure we do is add these components somewhere. Where is a good question though. I think it needs to probably in checkout. Oh, looks like it didn't save checkout last time I did it. Let's just recover. Close that down. Delete it. Okay. Let's have a look. So when we click crypto, what we want to do is we want to just have like a, let's do loading, and so that's false. So we're just going to set loading to be true here, and then we're going to do this dot get address. or yeah, import orders from. We want to import API/order. And I believe we did do orders. Yep, that's correct. And let's just do orders. Create. And we'll do this product. All right, perfect. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to kind of display something that's just like a spinner or whatever. I'm just going to have a look online, see if we can find one that will work. Just because if we have a spinner, it just makes things just look a little bit nicer. But I don't want anything too much. Okay. So we got a page loader. That's not really what I want. It's a Bulmer extension. I don't want that. I kind of want just a spinner, really. Divider, switch. Let's see if we can find one. All right. Let's see. I mean, it seems like we've got a .loader element, so let's try it. Let's try it here. Let's see what we can do. And we want to just do this. Alright, so we're running. Let me get open the Tumblr plus the web. Sorry about that giant picture of my face. Okay, where is... Here we are. That's localhost. So that's a VF. Fortunately, we can get that pretty quickly. So I guess when we click here, let's have a look. Okay, so this makes sense. So yeah, we don't want to add this in here. We probably want to add it into a new component. We've got the card form. Let's do crypto form or crypto payments. We'll do crypto POS, we'll call it. POS stands for proof of sale, point of sale. Alright, so we can do that. That's going to be a little bit easier. And we can just container it. Rather than messing around, I don't want to touch the checkout page too much. In fact, we can probably just remove all that. There we go. Let's check that out. Oh, well, we lost the work that I did last time. That's kind of annoying. That's not so bad. We can just do this. Okay. And let's delete all that. And we'll just paste that all in instead. Oops. Let's just save that. Perfect. Okay, we got that back. So let's not check it out because I didn't check it in. Let's get rid of the orders stuff. Oh, that's not too big a deal. Bit of a slow start today. Sorry, it's been a long day. But I wanted to get this session recorded. Okay. And I haven't got any notes for this one. That's one of the biggest challenges here. So we're trying it without notes. Hopefully it'll be alright though. Okay, so we don't need this loading anymore because we're going to just add everything into this component here. So we've got our crypto point of sale here. Let's just add some divs in. And we don't need to do much in here. Let's add the script. And we can do an async mounted. So we only want to do this probably once actually. We can do it with created as well. That's probably the best thing to do. So in created, we'll just do what we did before, which is this dot state equals loading. Oh, we'll do this dot is loading equals true. This dot is loading equals false. And in fact, we don't actually need that. Let's do data here. Alright. Let's just log this out so you can see it. And then in our checkout page, we want to add in import order. Sorry, we can do import crypto POS from. And we'll add this component. Okay, so then we can do this. Crypto POS v if is crypto. Okay, so we'll just fix these errors, and then that'll basically be it for the session. Let's have a look. Let's do that. Okay, perfect. So if we just quickly test on the web, let's have a look at the console. Okay, so this is definitely maybe one of the issues we've got. Make sure to provide the name. Alright, so Yeah, I thought this might be a little bit of an issue because of the way we got the crypto POS or proof of stake, not proof of stake, sorry, point of sale. Yeah. All right, let's just do it lowercase. I think there's no need to be risky with it. It might be like the way that Vue.js handles like capitals is it just applies a hyphen between the two of them. Okay, that's better. Property ID of defined. Okay, that's fine. Now we're going to want to bind the product here, so we can just do this: product equals product, and we'll add this in. In CryptoPos, we'll just make sure we got some props here. Props. And there we go. Refresh. Still getting an ID error. That's fine because we want to create with this product. Okay, so this is something that we definitely want to. I think this should be all right. Let's see. Yeah, nice. All right, so we get it created, and it's got our address and amount in there, and it's got our ID. So that's perfect. So we've got everything that we wanted in here. We're getting the order from the server, and I believe we should only get it once. Let me just have a look, make sure I got my Vue. I do not have Vue CLI tools. Okay, let's fire up. Vue DevTools. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I probably need to add a window to the Vue DevTools. But let's just add that in anyway. Alright, let me restart that. I accidentally copied and pasted something. So I can get the initial thing. So all we want to do is you just want to add this to the top. And that should basically allow you to debug Vue.js using the Vue DevTools. And then we just reload the page. And there we go, yeah, that's it. So I can just make sure that everything was loaded once. Okay, and go to the CryptoPos. Yeah, so that's it. It tells me everything's there. Perfect. And you can see this dump coming down from the right-hand side. But we don't need that with the developer tools in place, which is great. Okay. So what did we do in this session? We basically just added in a new route so that we could create orders, which we will be expanding on a little bit in the next session. Next session, we're going to be looking at basically creating our data model and everything else that we want to do within these orders. I guess we could probably do it now. I mean, there's a bit of time to do it. No, we'll save it for the next session because there's some more I want to do. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I'll catch you next time. Hi everyone, welcome to session 3 of how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So in this session, what we're going to do is we're going to expand on our orders API that we covered in the last session, and we're going to create our order schema. So this is what's going to basically store the data every time we post. We're going to sort of create the interface for this. So we're just going to sort of create the schema and tie it up. So what you want to do is you want to go into your orders model, and let's start by getting mongoose in there. So mongoose equals require mongoose. If you've seen my other videos, you know that this is quite common. Let's do const schema equals, let's do order schema. Equals new schema. Let's delete. Let's just do const order equals. Okay. Let's change this to be mongoose.schema. export the order out so that we can import it in other things. Now our order, we've kind of touched on this a little bit in the last session, so what it's going to want to have is we're going to want to have an address, which is the type of string, and it is required, so make sure we do required true. And we also want to do this as unique, so index, and this is important for cryptocurrencies, so we'll do index unique true as well, so we just want to make sure that that's there. That's the payment address. So we're calling it address, we could call it a payment address or something else. I think I like payment address actually. So we'll do payment address, and then we want to have the amount. Now amount is very different from price, but it's the similar metric. So here we can do type. I think we want to have this as a number. Required is true, index. We don't want to index it, we'll leave it at that. We'll have the price. Now this will also be a number. Required true, make sure all of these are set. Then we want to have a then we want to have so we've got our price, we've got our amount, got our payment address. We want to have the product as well, so what we'll do is this. We'll just link it basically, so we'll do type equals mongoose.schema.types.object.id. Obviously, when you've written as much Mongo as this, or Mongoose at least, you start to remember these sorts of things. Okay, ref, and we'll have the product. Sorry. So I'm trying a new format with these videos, so sorry if it's a little bit janky, but basically I'm trying to aim for around 15 to 20 minutes for each video, just because it's been requested that some people want to get smaller bites of content. So it's, it's just trying to get me to adjust to this new way. So sorry if the videos are a little bit off at the moment. I just keep trying to remind myself not to talk too much like I'm doing right now, and keep looking at the clock. Okay, so we've got the order model in here. That should be fine, everything's running cool. You'll see the stuff from the last session on there. Let's go into our controller and let's import it. Okay, so there we go, we've got in everything here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to get a payment address or an amount and price and a product. So these are the things we want to do. Now, if we have a look at our controller, we already have the product ID, so that's easy enough to do. So what we can do is just do const. Now we could just basically pass the ID, but I think the best thing to do here is, because we want to throw an error if the product doesn't exist. So let's import the. Okay, let's just import the model for this one. Normally I would have a controller root and I wouldn't deal with the model, but in this case, just because we're doing some stuff with the controller that's slightly more varied, we're going to do require products/model. All right. So we're just going to basically require this, so const product equals await product.find by ID, product ID. Okay, and then if not product, return invalid. Oh, we'll throw errors here, throw new error invalid product. Alright, so we just throw an error. That's fine. We could set an error status, but I'm not going to go too much of that. That's basically Node.js stuff. Here we're more caring about how to implement a safe and secure payment system. Okay, so if no product or product doesn't exist, then we just throw invalid product. We can put invalid product ID. That makes a bit more sense. Okay. Then the next thing we want to do, let's get out of here and go back into our order model. Okay, so product, done. We can do, I guess, order.create. Now I am commenting this out because there's a bunch of stuff we need to do here. But we can just do this. Let's do return await order.create. and product equals product. Now we have got the price as well, so we can do this, price. The next thing we need to do is the amount and the payment address. So this is something else. Let's do that. So okay, so we need to do const amount equals get amount. Also, we just want to add something new in here called timestamps true. Okay, so we want to do get amount for price, and we'll pass in the price. So I guess we're going to have to make this a function. We'll probably want to have something else that handles this instead, but we can just put it in here. Let's do that. And the next thing we want to do is const address equals get new address. Alright, so those are the two methods we now need to apply. Now, if you've seen any of the sort of other apps that we've done, we usually use some RPC methods and stuff like that. But in this one, we're not going to use RPC methods to get a new address. We're going to actually do something else cool, which is much more secure when you're maintaining a huge library of addresses. We want to keep it basically within cold storage, or because we're not going to be moving these funds out. So instead, what we're going to be using is something called an xpub, which is a public address, and we'll go into how to create that in a later session. But for the moment, we just want to architect this correctly. So what we can do is we can do it here. Normally, I would sort of feed this out into something else, but we're not going to do that. So, okay, we're just going to do function async get new address. Perfect. And then the next thing we want to do is okay, so there is something kind of confusing about how we want to do this. We might want to store used addresses, and we probably will want to do that, but we'll make a data structure for that at another point. We're not going to worry too much about this in this session. The one thing so we're just going to return this, basically. I think that would do. We'll go into a little bit more. I'm just trying to work it out how to do this in order. So we've got address here. Let's make sure I actually name that correctly. And let's use single quotes here. And then async function get amount for price. And we pass in the price. So now this one, we're just going to return again. And we're going to return it in Satoshi levels. So we'll just do 188. That is a single Bitcoin, or basically whatever currency you see you're using if you're using it in a 188 capacity. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do in the next session is, that was a quick one, 10 minutes. Yeah, so in our next session, what we're going to do is we're basically going to convert this into, we're going to basically make an API call to get the current price of Bitcoin, or whatever currency we're using. For this one, we're going to use Bitcoin, and we're going to use the testnet because it's the easiest thing to do, and most people know about Bitcoin. Also, I am a slight Bitcoin maximalist, so I believe Bitcoin is the best thing to do this stuff on. Normally, we have been doing stuff with our own little wallet called Livecoin, but we're not going to do that in this one. We're going to use Bitcoin, and we're going to use the testnet, so I'll explain how all of that works. But for this rest of this session, we're done here. We've basically added in the order model, and we've just put some stubs in for things that we want to do. So in the next session, we're going to look at getting a live price data from a pricing API, and then we'll just tie that up into our orders so we can create our orders with an actual price. So thanks for watching, everybody, and catch you next time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to session 4 on how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So in the last session, what we did is basically added to our model, basically with I guess our order model. Sorry, a little bit tongue-tied there. And we, looked at these two new methods: get new address and get amount for price. So what we're going to do in this session is we're going to get amount for price, and what that basically means is we're going to query a service that gets the current price index of Bitcoin, or at least the cached version up till a recent amount of time. and we'll just generate our price that we want. So we're going to convert from fiat. And in this case, we're going to convert from USD because that's what we've been building the app in. We're going to convert from that into fiat, basically, not fiat, into Bitcoin using the current price index. So we're always going to get an up-to-date pricing. So if the price of Bitcoin goes up, you know, we won't be charging phenomenal amounts of money, having a set index. Okay, so let's get started. So what we're going to use for this is we're going to use the CoinDesk price, Bitcoin price API. Let me just get this up. So many browsers open. Okay, let's show this on here. Okay, so we're going to be using the Bitcoin price API. This is basically the request that we want, and you can see we got the code for US dollar, which is what we'll use, but it also has Great British Pound and Euro. So if you're in a country supporting any of those currencies, you can also add this as well. So let's have a look at this. So we also want to be good citizens. You can see them there saying, please do not abuse the service. And we don't want to abuse the service, really. Like, they're providing a nice service and they might rate limit or something like that. So what we want to do is we want to use the caching code that we've already got implemented but we haven't discussed in BitBooks. We're going to reuse that. So let's get started. So the function is going to go in our orders controller, and it's going to be replacing in our get amount for price. Now, if we have a look at our products controller, let's open it up, you'll see we also use Google, and to prevent any rate limiting, we also use a cache. So let's start that now. Now, I would recommend having more than one price index, just in case one goes down. You don't want to be able to stop orders from happening. And what you could do is you could sort of ping the service every so often and use the most recent price you've got. That's kind of about the scope. I mean, you're free to optimize this as however you would like. In this one, we're just going to basically assume that it's always going to work. Okay, let's have a look. So this is what we've got, and we want to change that. So we can get rid of the order schema. We don't care about that at the moment. All right, so we've got request promise cache, a bit of a long name, but this is how it looks like. So it takes in the URL, a cache key, which is just going to be the URL, the cache time to live. We're already going to set this about 15 seconds, I think. Really not that long at all. Let's give it a go. It's just to prevent, you know, if we're getting lots of people hitting the request, we don't want to spam. So the URL equals, let me get it up. All right, perfect. And let's just copy and paste this stuff in here. So we need some. We're just going to basically do this 15 seconds. I think that's right. Cache limit 24, fine. Resolve full response. Let's try true there. I don't know, actually. False, I guess. I need to double check what that does. I'll make sure I do that and then update accordingly. Okay, so we get the amount for price, but let's do this. Const response equals json.parser as well. Now, if we have a look here, you can see that what we want to actually get is so time. Yeah, we don't care too much about that. We just want to get the BPI. Okay, so const rate equals amount. Response. So look at that. BPI. USD. Rate. So quite a nested object there. And we want to parse it as float, so just do parse float. Or maybe we can do parse double, that might be better. I don't know if parse double exists, so no, it doesn't. Alright, so just parse the float. And that's the rate we've got. So then what we want to do is we want to work out, so we just do price divided by rate. So term price divided by rate. And let me just double check that my math is correct. Bitcoin was 10,000. and I was at a price of 20. That would equal, yes, that's correct. So we do price divided by rate. And that should give us our amount for price. So let's give that a little whirl. Now, I've got my view developer tools here, so I can't really show you that. I need to get a window set up. So I do apologize. Now, okay, so we've got some errors. Product.findById is now a function. I didn't capture that last time. That's terrible of me, a bit of a faux pas. Sorry about that. Okay, invalid product ID. Interesting. Let's have a look, shall we? Okay, let's just log this out. It's most likely that we are not doing this properly. Okay, undefined, yeah. So let's have a look, see what price is. It could just be that I've got the wrong data in. It's most likely what's happened. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we'll go back into our roots. I think that's more likely what we need. So I do apologize, I should have checked that. Alright, that's better. Okay, so amount is required. Path payment address is required. Yep, so we changed some of the names around. Let's do payment address. Now this is only going to work the once, which is kind of annoying because we've got this set up to be unique. We don't really want to be creating, but I'll clear the database and that should be fine. So amount is amount. Let's add that in and give it a go. Okay, now we click here. Alright, we got, basically didn't work. Cast the string failed. Okay, so we need to do awaits here. Because we can't send back a promise. Let's refresh. And we click response is not defined. Okay. Yep, response. Let's try again. Okay, looks like it worked. I was showing the MongoDB output, but you can't see it because the window's in the way, so sorry about that. Okay, so let's go on to just the terminal plus camera. In fact, we'll just go into terminal here. Mongo bitbooks db dot orders find, and we have an order. So the amount is very, very off. Apparently, it thinks the amount should be 1.855 Bitcoin, which is not correct. So we're just going to remove that, and we're going to debug. Now, okay, we don't need that. Don't need that either. There we go, perfect. Now, debugging is going to be interesting. Let's have a look. Console.log price. Console.log. Great. Really gonna need some command line tools for okay. So rate is marked down as 7. Now I know why that is. And this is a problem with the API, it looks like. Yeah, so we don't want to do rate, we want to do rate float. Okay, make sure you choose rate float. And it's just a display issue, basically. Right. Let's go back to bitbooks. And remove that. Cool, all good. Okay, now if we just find, we can see that actually the amount is 0.0017. And we get a big old long number. We want to concat it at about -8. So let's do that. Let's also remove this stuff. Okay. So we want to do price times 1e8 divided by rate times 1e8. Okay. So this should round it off a little bit. Let's try it. If not, it might have to go some other way. Okay, it doesn't round it off. Fixed 8 and parse float. So there's probably a better way to do this. But for the meantime, let's leave it like this. Okay, cool. Alright, so the amount is 0.00176.826. Nice. So that should be to 8 decimal places, that is, yep. And yeah, it kind of rounds it up and down. That's fine. We're okay with that. We don't worry too much about anything less than that. So that's how we sort of get the original price. So you can see it doesn't take us very much to get there. We've got our price basically being produced. Let's just delete all this stuff. Delete that as well. Cool. So in the next sessions, or I guess the next couple of sessions, we're going to be tackling something a little bit more advanced, and this is about security within Bitcoin. So what you may have seen is in other videos we've done is we've basically just queried the RPC client, and we've had the RPC client as a hot wallet in the cloud. That's very insecure. All it takes is somebody to access your RPC client, and then you're in trouble. So instead what we're going to do is something else. We're going to basically generate our keys from something called an XPub, which is a public key ability to basically derive addresses from a single public key, which it's a public key. If anybody gets it, they can see all the addresses we have, but they can't actually do anything about it. So I guess in the next few sessions we're going to talk a little bit about that, and I'll go into some more detail. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this session. Catch you next time. Alright guys, welcome to session 5, I believe. Session 5 of how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So in this session what we're going to be looking at is BIP39 and HD wallets. So if you don't know what those two are, we'll give a little explanation about it. So HD is, I can't remember what it stands for, something derived wallets. HD wallet, let me just get that. It's a deterministic wallet, basically. Hierarchical deterministic. Sorry, I should have had that to hand. Okay, so a hierarchical derived, I can't remember the name of, derived wallet, basically. So what we're going to be doing is, basically, this is a security mechanism when creating your own coin. So what happened in the past is you would just create a random private key and subsequent public key when you were creating a wallet, and the issues that this would cause is, I mean, because it's random, there's sort of like if you only remember part of your key, you're kind of you might lose some of the rest of them, let's say in a database failure or something like that, or part of the file gets corrupted. So what this does is a way of actually remembering one piece of information in a cryptographically secure way that people just cannot guess. There's far too much search space for somebody to find out, and your passphrase or whatever, and basically keep it safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this. So this is the site we're going to go on to, eCommerce.io, and we're going to use this to generate a mnemonic phrase. If you've ever used like a hardware wallet or something like that, you'll get a list of 24 words. And this is basically what that is. So let's generate it. Now this is a safe website. You can go on it. You can also download it yourself and read the source code. Do verify it. I would make sure you do this on an offline machine, and make sure that this doesn't leave. Once you've run it down on the offline machine, you do it safely. Just because you don't really want to make sure you want to make sure that this isn't leaked anywhere online, because this is going to be your wallet basically. Okay, so let's just do this a few times. Cool. We are going to be using Bitcoin. We're going to be using the Bitcoin testnet, but it doesn't matter because we can generate all sorts of coins from this. Alright, so this one looks fine. Okay, so that is our mnemonic phrase. It's the one we're going to be using in this course. Now you can add a passphrase, which I definitely recommend doing, such as like password, if that is your password, and that basically just overwrites the seed. It doesn't matter too much at this stage though, because we're not going to be actually using the seed, but you want to make sure you keep your mnemonic phrase. So we're just going to add this to our source code, and this is what the phrase, well, we're going to write this down actually, we're not going to add it to our source code. You want to keep that somewhere for you. So I'm just going to write some notes for this. Gnote is fine. I'm just keeping this, I'm not going to use this mnemonic phrase, it's just for showing. You want to keep this secret. This is very, very, you want to make sure you're secure here. Alright. So I'm just writing it down now. Perfect. Okay, so what do we have here? We have basically the derivation path. I can't say that by basically for derived addresses. So these are, you can see we've got all these addresses that are derived. Now, all because of this phrase. Now this phrase is impossible to guess. It takes a lot of computing power to try and even find a collision. But this is the phrase that we kind of want. So we're going to use something called bit44 in this one, which basically allows us extended public keys and extended private keys, as you can see. So basically, you derive a path from it. I'm not going to go into too much about bit32, bit44. Bit32 is the original one. Bit44 is a little bit more than that. You can kind of set the coin, set the account, and things like that. But basically, what you want to do is you want to set Bitcoin testnet, because that's the testnet we're going to use, which you can see is actually coin 1, not coin 0. You'll see that it's 44 because that's the bit number. We're just going to have an account of 0, and it's going to be internal, external, basically external accounts. Now you can see here you've got account extended private key and account extended public key. You want to take the public key, because that's what we're going to be using, and you want to apply it to your code. So we're going to open up our configuration and add that in there. Don't worry too much about this. I know we're going quite fast, but it will kind of make sense a little bit. Okay, so let's go to our config. And we have got emails and stuff, but I don't think we actually need that. But we're going to do bit44. Or we can do xpub. Xpub is fine as well. And save it in there. Now, if you have a coin that's not listed on here, that's fine. What you want to do is you just want to change your coin path, and the coin path will kind of work with any sort of bit key. It doesn't matter too much what your coin path is. You just want to make sure, see if they've got one already. There are a load of coins on here that are listed, so most of the major coins are going to be supported. It doesn't matter too much because the way you generate the key from this, what's it called? Extended public, or xpub as it's called, it is completely different. But for the meantime, we'll just stick with the testnet, so Bitcoin testnet. And you'll see this one actually comes out with a tpub, which is slightly different, but don't worry too much about it. It should be an xpub. There is also ypubs and zpubs, but we're not going to go into that. Okay, so that's our public key. So from this, we can actually generate all the addresses and have our private keys secretly stashed away. So it doesn't matter if we commit this. This is okay to commit. So how do we go about doing this? So first of all, what we're going to want to do is just do npm. Let me get rid of this blinding light and go to terminal. Okay, and we're going to get out of here. Okay, so let's install Bitcoin.js, I believe. Let me just double check the website. Okay, Bitcoin.js lib. Alright, so we've added this in. Now, how do we do this? So we do const Bitcoin require Bitcoin.js lib. I think it should just be Bitcoin.js, but we'll see. Okay, I'm just getting up the notes for Bitcoin.js lib, just because I want to make sure we get it correct. Cool. I'm just checking some notes that I do have on this. Find out. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. So we want to get new addressed. So, I mean, initially all we're going to do is just get the initial address, and then we're going to add some sort of like address, I guess, checking in there, verifying in it. I mean, we could do that because we're already indexing by address, if I believe. Yes, we are. So we're going to want to also add a couple more to our order schemas. But that should be fine. We're going to want to add a status. So we're just going to add that now, actually. So in the order schema, just add a status. It's going to be a type of string. It's going to be enum. Let's leave that, actually. Let's leave it for the moment. I'm going to leave that like that. Okay. So let's get a new address. I'm just trying to find, because we're currently exporting, but we don't want to export xpubs. We've already got one, so we just want to generate a bunch of addresses based on this xpub. All right, let me have a little look at the... So I'm just trying to find the correct notes for this. We can just import the... Alright, that should be fine. Okay, so let's get our configuration. Config equals require. Alright, so we've got our xpub here. Now what we're going to want to do is basically create a node. So let's do const node equals BIP32 base 58. And we'll do xpub here. So we could just do this as well. Let's see how it works. BIP32 is not defined, that's fine. I just want to... Sorry, it's a bit janky this session, but we're just trying to make sure we've got everything. Okay, so we're going to BIP32 is require BIP32, and BIP32 is an add-on library. For some reason I can't find it, which is funny. Let's just npm hi BIP32. Let's do this as well. We may as well do BIP39 while we're at it. Okay, cool. so we want to add the version, I guess it's the testnet version. Let's do that. BIP32 from base39, we're going to do bitcoin.networks testnet. Okay, so that is fine. Now let's add some configuration onto here. Testnet true. Be okay. Okay, perfect. So that's basically it. So we've added in we've got basically our node, we've fed it from the base 58, and we can then derive paths from it. So how do we go about getting addresses or deriving a path? We just basically do this. So we just do node.derive path 0. So return const path equals that. And then we need to get the address from there, so let's do that. Okay, so let me just open the BIP32 library. Just to get the documentation up. Alright, so this basically gets, I believe, we return depth index, private key. Just trying to figure out what we actually return here. They've changed it around a little bit, which is fine. It's just been a while since I had a look at this library. It's a very useful library as well. I recommend checking it out. Gives you all the information you need. You know what? Instead of just messing around like this, let's just curl it. Let's not curl it. Okay, I'll just use the website. I haven't got a curl request that works correctly. So where's Opera? Here we are. Okay, so that is one of the issues. We just want to derive 0. So that's the address number, and we will add a way of doing that in there. Now, there is a really easy way that we can derive the address number, which we will just probably use. Okay, cool. So path get address does not exist, but we do get a bunch of other stuff in there, such as queue, with things like that. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to just write some quick code that allows us to get this address out of there. Okay. So we'll just do return payments.pay to public key hash pub key node.public key. So this is the public key from the node, and we'll do network, and then we'll just get the address. Perfect. So that should be everything we need to do, and then we need to basically just do this const count equals 0 for the moment. So just do account. Okay. And this, will cause a bit of an issue. Okay, let's go back here. Cannot read pay to public key hash of undefined. Interesting. Let's figure out what's going on here. I've got too many browsers open, that's my issue. Cannot read pay to public key hash of undefined. Let's figure out what's going on here. So the source is, I guess, is index.js. Payments should be there. So should bit32 actually. Okay, so let's do bitcoin.bit32. Okay. Let's just log it, see what we got here. We got scripts, buffer utils, block, EC pair, HD node. Okay. So this looks like it's an older version than what I'm looking at online. So we'll use this version for the meantime because it looks like they've done a big revamp, but they've not got there out there. So this will be kind of like future work. So okay, we can do bitcoin.hd node, and that should be fine. Okay, let's just do console.log node. Let's not log the Bitcoin anymore. That should be okay. Return this. Sorry about that, guys. And girls. Alright, payment address is required, fine. So HD node, we get EC pair. We basically want to just convert an address. So how do we go about doing that? Yeah, okay. I see. So we're getting on the old code, figure out what's going on here. So they did do a new release. I guess they've not updated npm just yet. Reality is you can probably update using direct to GitHub. For the moment, make sure you use tag 3.3.2. But you know what, we're not going to use tag 3.3.2, we're going to actually change that, so I want to keep it up to date, and by the time I release this video, it's going to be outdated, so let's use the most current option, shall we? Okay. Yeah, completely different. Okay. Do this. I believe this should be fine. Okay, so we'll just use the HTTPS link for the Bitcoin.js, and that will give us the most up-to-date Perfect. And now, as you can see, we don't have the things that we did before. So we'll do this. And that should work. Okay. The reason I'm doing that, I mean, by the time, as long as version 4 is out on npm, then use that. If it's not, then just install directly. That is the most up-to-date version, is what you want to do. Okay, I'm just going to quickly check the cart again. Okay, so everything looks good here. Now, if we check our MongoDB database, we should have db.orders.find. Let me move my face as well so you can all see. And there we go, we have a payment address. But you'll see if I try to do this again, by doing what I did before, which is just reloading the page, and clicking there, we get an error because we've already got that payment address. So, in this case, what we want to do, you probably can't see that error. I kind of can. Let's go back to this. So what we want to do here is we want to get the count, and we just want to increment this each time. Now, luckily, we know that because of that error that we're only going to have one payment address per order, and we want to keep it like that. We don't want to issue an order unless the payment address has been completed. So let's do that. Const payment. So count, we already set that as 0. Let's do count equals. So the count is the orders. Actually, we can just do order.count. But we need to await it, so we'll do await order.count. And we'll try that. Let's give that a go. Okay, so it doesn't look like the count did too well. Let's try console.count. One. So for some reason the payment address is because we've only done node.public key. Let's do path.public key. Okay. We're just going to change this to root and root here node and then here node. So you want to make sure that happens, but because we've got everything set up like this, it's fine. Okay. And collection.count is excrement, what's it called? Incorrect. So let's do count.humans because it's deprecated. Alright. So now if we have a look, you can see we've got 2 different addresses. So reset that again and go again. 3 different addresses. And we control the private keys to those addresses, but we've not got the private keys. I mean, I know you saw the mnemonic phrases, but we've not got the private keys anywhere near our server. So that's it. We're basically now generating addresses, and we're generating a unique address for every order that we get in. Normally what you would have on this order as well as like an email address or something like that, so you can kind of manage your users and stuff, but again, that's optimization issues, and I'm going to leave that down to you as implementers. This is just kind of show you how we can do stuff like this. So there you go, we got the payment addresses in. What we're going to be doing on the next session is basically displaying that to the user in a friendly manner. So we're going to be looking at another BIP. I can't remember the name of this one, I think it's BIP24 or something like that, but I'll explain next time. And we'll go from there. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the session. Hi everyone, so welcome back to session 6 on how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So today what we're going to be doing is continuing on from where we left off, which is where we got to, which was having orders coming back from the API, which gave us the amount we wanted to receive in Bitcoin and the address to send it to. So what we're going to do today is we're going to display that on our crypto form, and what we're also going to do is add a QR code, and we'll go into how to do that. It's using a protocol called BIP29, which is basically a proposal and improvement added to Bitcoin, which allows for like a standardized syntax for displaying addresses and values associated, so QR code readers can work uniformly. So what we're going to do is open up our web, which we're already in, and this is the bit22, which I recommend, worth reading, but there's a nice JavaScript library. 21. It's a nice JavaScript library here in Bitcoin.js, and we'll probably use that. So let's go ahead and install it, get out of the API and get here. So let's just install it here and go and install bit21, save. And we probably want to install a QR code reader. So let's have a look. Well, QR code generator. So let's have a look and see what's a good one. JS QR code. Oh, that looks awful. So let's get view QR code. I think that's probably the nicest one. Okay, let's add this. Okay, so we'll install this QR code reader. Perfect. Okay, so let's add it to Vue.js. View QR code from, and we'll just copy and paste this. It's probably easiest. Okay, and make sure we use it as well. Okay, so let's go into Bitbooks, make sure everything works. npm run dev. It's got to build everything. Don't need that semicolon. It's one of the issues with copy and paste. Okay, let's have a look. Perfect. And now one thing you may be noticing is we create a load of addresses every time we go onto here. That doesn't matter too much. Hopefully your checkout systems and your own sites will be a little bit more sophisticated. Like you'll take an order number or something like that and then store that in the session data. But in this case, we're just doing something quick. And it doesn't matter. There's so many addresses, you're never ever going to have to worry. You can reuse addresses as much as you want. You could have a machine just generating addresses all day, every day, and you will never run out. You won't even have collisions, so it's absolutely fine. Okay, so we've got the Pay with Crypto tab. Let's go ahead and do that, shall we? There we go. Had to refresh. All right, so we're on the crypto point of sale here. We've got our order. Let's go ahead and just add some, I guess, a label. That would actually probably do. We'll just do H4 here. We could do a paragraph actually. Please send Bitcoin to the below details below. I guess in your own situations you probably want to make sure that this looks correct, but we can do H1 or H2. What is going to be the best UI style? I mean, we'll just do a div v if order. Let's just do that for the moment. Slash div. Let's put that there as well. Okay, so v if order. Let's have, I don't know, H1 class equals title. I don't think this is the right way to do it, but for the moment, we'll just do it like this. We'll make it a little bit nicer as we go along. And we'll just do order address. Or I think it's payment address, isn't it? Payment address. Oh yeah, that's probably a little too large. That is 2. That's even larger, so let's go down to this 4. Okay. and then we do h1 class title is for order amount. Try that. Okay, so that's the amount and that's the address we need to send it to. Let's make this a little bit nicer, shall we? Let's also put a class in here, I think. Section. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so we want to just at least kind of put this a little bit nicer than that. We want to keep that going. Let's have a look at bulma.io. Alright. We could do it with columns, I guess. Just thinking, would forms be nice? But the problem is I don't really want to select anything or edit anything. It's just going to be about labels. I don't think forms is right. Certainly not tabs. Not breadcrumb. Tag, maybe? You have two tags attached to each other? I guess so. Let's try that. Again, we don't care too much about this. I'm not going to spend too much time making this look good. I guess that's kind of alright. Yeah, that's fine by me, I think. And we'll just do it here as well. We'll make it larger so we can actually see it. Yeah, that seems alright. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. Let's just make it larger. There's got to be a way to do that. How do we do sizes? Okay. Let's do is large for this. Do we do it here, maybe? Let's go back to there. Nope, we don't do it there, so we'll just do it here. Oh, that looks awful. That looks nice. I like that. That would do. Cool, and then we'll just add a QR code next. So how do we do that? Pretty simply. Test value, options, equal, size 200. Let's try that, shall we? And there we go, we seem to have a QR code. Looks very large, this QR code. It's probably a bit larger than it needs to be. Let's do 250. I don't want to make it too big. Alright, perfect. So we've got our QR code, we've got the amount, the address, and then you can just hold that up. We need to get the actual value, though, correctly. So if we go to our Bitcoin.js, pretty easy. Let's have a look at how we do that. So import bit21 from bit21. So far so good. Okay. So we just need to encode the address and the amount now. And you can add like a label as well, as you can see here, if you want to have like an order number or anything like that. We don't need a label, that's fine. What we could do, but yeah, I guess we can just put the order ID in. It doesn't matter too much. Okay, so let's do computed. So we're just going to make this computed value. Computed. Encoding. Return bit 21.encode for this order address. Pay address, sorry about that. And we'll add the options in, which is amount. Is this order amount. And label, which we can just do bit books. And we'll just add the order ID, I think. And that way, you know, they'll have a label in their wallet as well, which explains what it is. So if we check out our QR code, nope, we still haven't changed it. So let's do value equals encoding. And there you go. So you can see there's a lot more encoded in there now. So rather than that big chunky one that we had initially. So there's a bunch more data in there. All right, perfect. So that's basically what we wanted to get done today. We're displaying the address, and you can see that this address is changing each time. We're displaying the amount though, because the amount is not changing. It will fluctuate through the day as the price of Bitcoin changes, but in the last 24 hours, we've not really had that much movement. It's kind of moved sideways. So yeah, that's it for this session. Next session, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at how do we allow this sort of information to, well, how do we know that we'll be paid and we get some callbacks and stuff like that. So we'll look at adding basically socket.io, which is really, it's like a sort of custom implementation of WebSockets. We're going to use it because it's very quick and easy to get up and running. They're an actual WebSocket pub sub server. So we'll use socket.io, add it to our API, and have that running. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next session. Hello, guys. So welcome to session 7. I'm not going to name the name because we're doing so many quick sessions. This one, there's no point. Okay, so welcome to session 7. So in this session, what we're going to be doing is adding sort of WebSockets to our application. And we're going to do that via socket.io, which is not a standard WebSocket implementation, but it's one of the quickest ways to get up and running. And so we're going to use that. So let's get started. So what we want to do is we want to go to our API. Let's add this here. Clear that one. Okay, we're in session 7. Good. So we're just going to install socket.io and save that there. And then in our web, we're going to do the same thing, but flat, and save this here. I haven't used socket.io for a little while, so I may be a little bit rusty on what we need to do. I definitely have some notes somewhere, but where is the big question? Okay. Yeah, where is the good big question? Just going to quickly check my GitHub. And if not, we'll just consult documentation. I don't have my... yeah, let's have a look. So I wonder if I have... Alright, I do have some socket.io references to use, so we're just going to go with this because I know that these work. So just create a folder called socket, index.js. Okay, so we're just going to require the HTTP client. because I moved to a new computer, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm on a not on Mac anymore, I'm on Linux, Arch Linux, and just because I feel like, I don't know, Apple released the new MacBooks, and apparently they throttled something horrid on their new, on the new Core i7 8th gen processors, whatever they are. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're basically creating a server that's just going to return 200, and we're just going to listen, basically. Just going to add a function so we can listen, async port, await server.listen, port, there we go, exports.io equals io. Cannot find module of Bitcoin.js.lib. I think I must have uninstalled it by accident. But this is probably... No, there we go, seems like it worked. Probably not going to, I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, good. Good. Okay. Why did that want that, I wonder? Anyway, so we've got our socket server library here, so we just need to run it now. So we'll go into our app. And in index.js, let's import it. So const server equals, oh, socket even. Require socket. So we're just going to require that in. Perfect. Let's actually do that like this. And then we'll just start the socket server as well. So again, like if you want to use this on your own website and you want to scale it, make sure you use something like Redis to manage sessions across the two things. For the moment, we're not going to worry too much about it. Okay. So let's do socket.listen, wait. And we'll just do it whole 4,000, I think. Perfect. Then let's do this, socket.io on connection. Listen socket. Alright, we'll just do console.log. We have a connection. That will do for the moment. Let's do this as well. Alright, perfect. So we probably want to do it so we're actually accessing something other than this. So in this case, I need to get up my second reference, which is my laptop, just to have a quick check on this stuff. So you'll have to excuse me on here whilst I do that. Because we basically want to attach to we want to join a room, so we want to join to like a socket ID instead of just joining to anything. And because I don't seem to have it on my PC, not this second, I will get it on my PC actually. Then, yeah, we need to do it some other way. So we just basically want to be able to, return anything to an order that we want. And we also want to start looking at things like transaction IDs and stuff like that. But for the meantime, let's do this. So, okay. So I can probably copy all of that over. Alright, I'm just copying my reference notes over. Okay, perfect. So we don't worry too much about it at the moment because we're just going to connect to the connection. Let's go ahead onto our web and do it here. So what I tend to do is I'll add something to the config so we can have some sort of proxy table here. So we'll just do socket. We don't want to do socket IO. So this is a bit of a challenge, this one. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, so we want to go onto the landing, I guess. It's probably the best place to have a look. Alright. Yeah, we can look in the index. Alright. So /connect is fine. We can just do, I think we'll do connect. That's okay. And just set the target to be HTTP, local host 4000, main origin true. WS true. So this is just letting us know that it's a WebSocket, and we'll just rewrite the path. Now we don't have to do this, but yeah, let's do it. This is kind of slightly different how we would normally do it. Yeah, I think it should be fine. But I don't think we want to rewrite the path, that's the only thing. And then we'll just do /socket.io. Target HTTP local host 4000. And again, this is true, and change origin true. So we'll leave it like this. When we get to the deployment stage, deployment session, we'll tidy this up a little bit. Okay, perfect. Let's just stop that and rerun that again. All right, so next thing we want to do is go to our order or CryptoPos component. And let's just import the socket here, import socket.io, or socket from. Cool. And we need to do that here. Need to just set up the socket. Now I'm not too sure where I put the socket on my notes. Would be a good time to grep. Okay. Yep. So import, we can do socket from client. Let's do socket.io, I think. All right, and then what we want to do, we want to add it. So I guess we want to connect. So let's do a method. Methods. And we'll add the connect method in here. Connect. Let's get off this because it's very bright. So there we go. That's much better. Okay, so we connect, then alright, so we get the order ID, and then what we want to do is add a query for the order in there. Let's do location equals window.location.host. This socket equals socket.io location. We'll do a resource here of /connect, and we'll add the query in. Perfect. Okay. Oh, let's do that. Equals. Okay, perfect. So let's add the socket to here. So we basically get the socket in there, and we just then want to do some waiting on it and things like that. So let's add a watch, I think, for our socket. So watches, if we've not used them before. Basically, they get alerted whenever a variable changes. So here we want to watch the socket, and we can do some other stuff once we've got it. We don't need it right now. Okay, so if I go back to this, yeah, we didn't change the path origin. So what I want to do is potentially should be fine, I think. Because it doesn't matter what it comes in as, so we don't need to rewrite it. I think that should be okay. What we probably want to do, though, is... let's have a look. Because if we do get a root for .socket, server.listen.port, socket server... I'm sure it's fine. We might have to do something slightly different on this one, so we might have to proxy it, which is different from what we've been doing before. But that's fine. We could proxy that later. That's probably how we should do it, especially when we're dealing with sockets. But I'll figure that one out. We'll leave it like this for the moment because this will work. Okay, let's let me just refresh. Alright, let's do this. Notes aren't going to be ready for like 30 minutes or something, so it's fine. Okay, let's refresh the page. Do we connect via... No, we don't, because we need to connect. Okay, so we'll just do a watch here, and then orders. This, if. Okay, perfect. Let's do that. So do we connect? We have a connection, so we are actually connected, which is great. So we're connected by a socket IO. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to pass in the... Let me get the notes up. We want to basically get the order ID, and we want to assign like a room basically for it. So just a unique room for that order ID. So let's go source, assets, components. Okay, let's get to the API. All right, let's have a look. So in our app, okay, so what we want to do is we want to get basically the ID of the order from the socket when we do connection. So we can do it here. That's fine. So we'll do const chat equals socket.handshake.query chat, and it's not chat, it's order. And then we'll do socket.join. Socket.join order, because we get the order ID. So we basically join a chat room for that. So that means we can basically ping that order ID later with updates. Cool. So now we've got the session going. What we're going to do is just do socket dot, I believe it's send. Let's just do, and then we'll do state equals loading. or we can do waiting. All right, so go back to our web here, and what we'll do is we'll do this dot. Okay, yeah. We'll do update, I think, that's fine. And we just do this dot handle update. And what we can do is we can do ping. We'll add a ping as well in there, but socket.io kind of handles that for us anyway. So update or handle update. All right, handle update. This dot order dot handle. Okay, so we'll do a handle update and we'll do data as well. Okay, so what we can do here is we can just basically plug this in. So we'll just do state equals this, and we'll do state. This dot state equals data dot state. All right, perfect. So we should get a loading state, and let's now display that. So we'll pop over to the web view, and what we want to do is we basically want to have a loading indicator or something. So we'll just do a span for the moment. Let's just see what we get back. Doesn't seem like we get anything. So we've definitely got an order. I think it's socket.emit then, rather than send. Let's have a little look. All right, we'll load up the socket.io. All right, so we want to do socket on. We can do socket.emit. For some reason, we're not getting emissions from that. Let's have a look why. Okay, this dot on. Because it's socket, this dot socket dot on. My mistake. Okay, let's try that again. Cannot read properly state of undefined. Yep, that's fine. Data and data. So we just made a couple of mistakes there, which was silly. So we got state waiting. All right, so what we can do is we can do state dot waiting. Waiting for confirmation. All right, cool. Let's do something like a div around these two, I think. All right, perfect. Span. Yeah, nice. We can probably do this as a class. Title is 5, and you can probably add like something like a spinner in there if you want. Time on this. fine. Just do div class loader div. Let's do this as a span, I think. Oh, let's not do that. Okay, let's do this large or something. Large. That'll do. I'm sure you can have a better loader than what I've got here. Yeah, that's fine. Waiting for confirmation. So yeah, that's just something little we got there. Spinning, it's very small, but you know, if you're going to do this personally, do something better. But there we go, we got some socket IO connected. What we'll do next time is we use that to send back when we've actually received confirmation. What we want to do is, we'll talk about confirmation a little bit later on, but when we've got one confirmation written to block, or we can do it on 0conf, and then basically when you have enough confirmations that the transaction is irreversible, we'll then go ahead and, you know, email them or something like that. But for the meantime, you know, we'll keep it looking quite snappy, and hopefully you'll have their email address or something else like that, so you can sort of send them an update when they do have it. What's interesting is, yeah, that's kind of buggy out, isn't it? It just looks a bit weird when it drops there, but that's fine. That's okay, we can just leave it like that. Cool, okay, so that's it for today's session. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time. Hi guys, welcome to session 8. So in this session what we're going to be doing is basically allowing callbacks to occur within our sort of coin daemon. So we're going to be using Bitcoin testnet for this one. So I'll show you how to get that set up. You want to make sure you've downloaded the Bitcoin source code there and built it, because I already have that configured, otherwise it'll take too long. And then what we're going to do is basically subscribe to block updates, and we're just going to call our API whenever a block update occurs. So we're not going to use the wallet or anything like that within Bitcoin D. We've already got our wallet set up with the mnemonic phrase, and you would use something like Electrum or Trezor or Ledger to access those funds using that phrase. So what we're going to do in this instance is basically create an API endpoint within our API so that the coin daemon can call it. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to our source API. We've got orders, products. Let's do blockchain, I think. Probably a decent place to be, and we can do roots.js and controller.js. We might not even need the controller, but let's just see what we got here. Exports.roots equals function router host. So we don't want to do a post actually. We probably do want to do a post. Let's do router.post this.onBlock, and we'll have a look at what we can actually do here. But let's just do a quick function exports.onBlock equals async function ctx wait controller.create body. Okay, so here we can see that we've got the onBlock notifier coming back, and you know we're going to basically tie that up into Bitcoin somehow. So I'm here on my Bitcoin directory. We'll just go into the source at the moment. Let me just export as well. And also while we're here, we'll do sudo system draw start MongoDB, because I know that's going to complain. Okay, so if we go Bitcoin D help, we'll see what we get. So we got a few RPC variables, which are fine. We'll probably be using RPC just to get more information. But let's have a look. I mean, we probably actually. So it's an interesting one. It's whether we want to store the coin daemon locally on our server or not. I personally don't love doing it, but it does allow you to not have to rely on third-party services. But I think for this one we will use third-party services just because it's easier to set up, and we already are relying on them in some regards. But you know, it's kind of good if you do set up a service so you could talk to a node. rather than the node being completely offline. But that does make things also safe as well. But well, maybe we should do it locally. It's a tough one. You need a lot of hard drive space to do it locally, and you need to have sort of a dedicated. I mean, it's fine to do it locally because you're not storing any information in here. I mean, we've got the wallet running, but you don't really need it. You can build it without the wallet. All right. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for an alert. I can't remember what the alert is, but we'll try and figure it out. Sorry, it's really windy here today, so you can probably hear that in the background, because I can hear it through my headphones. Alright, so we've got block notify. That's probably quite a good one. Alert notify is also pretty decent. We wanna basically monitor for transactions as well, though. So we definitely want block notify command. And basically, when the best block changes, we want to be alert. Alert notify, I don't think we need, but we definitely want to be able to get an information whenever we see a transaction. Because we're going to use zero-conf for this, and you'll see what I mean by zero-conf soon. So wallet notify, we don't want to do wallet notify though. Let's have a look. I mean, we could do wallet notify because we could just add this as a watch only address. I'm just thinking about the best way to do this. Just go have a quick Google. Let's have a look. So I think what we want to do is we want to add watch only addresses then. So we are going to run this locally, which is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I mean, this is okay. It's there are probably better solutions, but for timing and for simplicity, this one is okay to do so. Especially if we want to do zero-conf. And it's always good to run your own node anyway, because running your own node means you are relying on yourself to trust. You trust yourself and you're not trusting anybody else. Okay, so let me just do the Bitcoin D-help again. We want to run this in testnet. That's most important, so we just add testnet. Let's do that. I'm doing it in this window, just so you can see. Okay, so we've got testnet. Now, the other thing we want to do is wallet notify and block notify. So these are two very specific things, and let's do it. Wallet notify equals command. Now we've got to add a command. So let's add a couple of shell scripts. and the command can just be dot dash or dot dot dot. Yeah, we'll go up. In fact, we'll do. We'll just go to the root, I think. I would do dot dash wallet notify dot sh. Try that. Should be fine. And then we can do block notify or leave. Yeah. Block notify equals, and we'll just do the same. Dot dash block notify dot sh. Now we need to actually write these two. So I did them at the my home, so let's just do that here. In fact, let's not do it there. Let's go into live.edu, crypto payments. Let's do it in the root here. So we'll do vim block notify dot sh. And we'll just do a curl command, I think. I know it's an sh, but we'll just do bash here, and we'll just do curl. Okay. So I need to just get up my notes for this one, because I do have. We want to be able to pass in the parameters as well. Also, what we want to do is we want to add a configuration file to our Bitcoin library, so let's just do that first, I think. Alright, yeah, that's fine. And let's just do wallet notify as well. Just add something in here as well while I still load up my notes, because my notes are out of battery for some reason, which is classic. If not, I can just Google it, I think. Sorry about this. I'm moving computers around. My notes are on one machine and not the other because I haven't moved them over yet. Alright, let's do this. And we can just do curl for the moment. We don't need it too much. Okay, so we're not going to do this in there anymore. It's going to be in live.edu / crypto payments / wallet notify. And what we're also going to do is we're just going to write this out to be a file as well, because it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Alright, so it's going to be in dot dash Bitcoin / source, and we can just do this as well, like this. So we just run this in a script because it's a little bit easier. Going to make these executable. Okay, so these are executable now, and finally we probably want to do a Bitcoin touch. Let's just have a look, see what happens if we try to run Bitcoin. There's a Daemon sh1. Of course. Alright, let's change that so we can have it running as a not as the... We basically want to have it running as a daemon, because we don't want to run this locally. I mean, we can also just get rid of that and add it to our conf. We're just going to do an RPC user equals user RPC pass equals hello world. I recommend making this random. And we'll just put Daemon 1 server equals 1. Okay. That's fine for this. Let's run that again. Cool. And then we can do let's go here. Let's make sure we got our RPC port up and running then, shall we? Did we crash for some reason or something else? Let's have a look. So it looks like it is running. The reason we can't see it is because we're on the Bitcoin testnet. Okay, so we get rid of that, go back to daemon equals 1. And so this is one of the things when querying the testnet, you need to make sure that you actually Bitcoin. You need to make sure you actually query it as well. So let's go on to here. Okay. Source .-bitcoin CLI, and then do -testnet. It's very important. And get info. Get blockchain info. Okay. For some reason we got no blocks, which is fine, I guess. We need to sort of make sure that we are connected properly. Let's see. Let's check again. So we're on the testnet. Doesn't look like we're getting it. Oh, we are downloading headers though, so that's fine. So I guess there's a load of headers to download as well. So let's have a little. Let's go onto here. We can probably see that better. Yeah, so we are downloading the headers, so something is happening, which is good. So we'll just leave that running for a little bit and we'll work on our API. So this, we want to have 2 posts here. We want to have the blockchain, I guess, or block. So blockchain block and router.post. We can do wallet. This dot on wallet update. So these are the 2 things we're going to be taking notice of. Okay, so let's do export.onWallet update, async function, cdx. We don't have anything there, and we'll do onBlock update. Then we'll just do keep context dot status 200. That should work. We just want to return 200 regardless. We don't want to worry too much. Let's get rid of these semicolons. I've been working with C++ too much. Okay, get rid of that as well. So that's basically it. We need to add this route as well to our routing. Let's do that. Do /blockchain. And we'll have blockchain here. Blockchain wire. Okay, now there is something else we want to do here, and that's we're going to want to implement RPC. Now we've done some RPC before, so I'm just going to copy it, then I'll go through it. But there's no point in me rewriting some of that stuff. We've already got it. But first of all, what you want to do is you want to install JSON. Also, let me put my camera back where it should be. Here we go. Looking a bit disheveled as well. Okay. Let's start with the blockchain. So, don't have any secrets this one. Let's do npm I JSON. Save. Add that in. Okay, we want to add RPC user RPC port. Can't remember where the RPC port is for the live with testnet. We'll figure that one out. RPC pass equals hello world. I think it's Google. It doesn't tell me anything. 18332. That makes sense. So the normal is 8332. Testnet is 18332. Okay. Thought I hadn't recorded that. I was worried for a second. Right, so that's that. Can we just check to see how the blockchain is doing? There we go, we're getting all our blocks downloaded now, which is great. Okay. So we've just added in the JSON in, added in this testnet, well, yes, RPC user, RPC password, RPC ports. You want to change them to be your own configuration. Now, just for brevity, I'm just going to basically copy what I've already got, but we'll go through that just because there's no point in me redoing stuff that I've already got and have done on other videos. Okay, coin service, let's do that. Alright, so we've got a new coin service directory here. This is the index. We're not going to have any of these send stuff here. We can get balance, and we don't need to get new address because we're not caring about the addresses. And we get the coin RPC port, coin RPC user, and coin RPC part, and also the coin RPC URL. So let's make sure we've got all of them there. Coin here because you want to use your own coin, I guess. And the coin RPC URL in this case is going to be 127.0.0.1. Perfect. Now I think we have to add these as strings, to be honest, because it doesn't seem to like it without it being a string. Testnet should be true. Now I can't remember where I put that, but I think that may cause some issues. Something to do, it was definitely to do within the orders, maybe. Yeah, okay, yeah. So that should work now for testnets. So I think beforehand we were creating the wrong address front, so this is just a quick fix there. Okay, so we've got our coin service, and what do we want to do here? We basically want to have a new method called add address. I think that's fine. We just basically want to all, watch address. And we'll put the address in there. Now what this would do is return this.client.request, because we want to make a request to it. And we'll just do then our.result. Now what is the request going to be? The request is going to be have a look. Just raise this up a little bit. And there we go. Maybe lower it just a tad. I moved my desk around and messed up the adjustments on monitors. Okay, so testnets. Help. So we want to add address basically. Get address. It's going to be in the wallet. Import address maybe? That might be it. Import address. Yeah, I think import address is the correct one. And we can add a label to it as well. So let's try this. Import address. And we want to add the address in. And we could add the order ID as well. If we really want to. Doesn't matter too much because, you know, we don't need to do that. But let's do it anyway. So we'll do order and address. And this could be address. Okay, so this is something slightly different than we've done before, but address and order. So just pass those in as parameters. Now JSON RPC takes parameters in as an array. So you have your method and then you have your array of parameters. Okay, so we import the address and we're just adding the order as a label. Doesn't matter too much. Let's give that a go in our orders, shall we? So we go into our orders controller. Now I think when we create an order, but before we return it, so, well, we already do return. We don't want to watch an address unless we've got an order created for it. So we'll do const order, there's a wait there, then we'll do await, and let's import the coin service as well while we're at it. Okay, so we've got the coin service in, and let's have a little look. I imagine, yeah, it needs a constructor. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to return a new coin service here, because we're not passing anything in, so we'll just make it a singleton. Okay. Sorry, this is a little bit of a longer video than I wanted it to, but add address, and we'll just put address here and order.id. Cool, and then return order. So that should be all we need. Let's give this a go. Of course. Yeah, for some strange reason, every time I have to reload this, it doesn't seem to save it. I'm not too sure why. It is very confusing though. So if anybody knows why that's happening, please do let me know. Okay. Blockchain.roots, return roots. Let's fix this up. Right, perfect. Now we're going to our web, npm run dev. You'll notice we haven't done any web this session, which is fine. The session's a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, we're on 30 minutes. Alright, let me get the browser up and running. Okay. That's better. Just gonna do that. Okay. Pay with crypto. Alright, coin service add address. So we definitely tried to do that. That's good. Yeah, because we added this watch address. So let's do that instead. Watch address. Okay, so that should, let's restart. Wallet is currently rescanning. Okay, so that will add the address once the wallet has finished rescanning. So we're going to leave that on that session. We basically sort of added in I guess this kind of was meant to be about doing the watch only or getting the callbacks, but instead we've managed to add addresses. So what we'll do is we'll pick this up on the next session and we'll talk about then getting the callbacks working. So it's kind of an inverse flip on this session, but we're waiting for everything to rescan because it's going to take some time. So once we've done that, yeah, we'll be good to go. So I'll catch you next time, guys. Thank you very much. Hi guys, so welcome back to session 9. So following on from the last session, what we're going to be doing today is carrying on with getting our notification system working from the Bitcoin daemon. I've now synced the chain, as you can see here, so it takes a little while, but once it's done, it's done. We're no longer in an initial block download, so we're ready to accept watch-only addresses, and yeah, we're ready to accept watch-only addresses and notify on them. So first of all, let's get up the website, Bitbooks, and we'll make sure that web-only addresses are working. Let's restart this. Okay. Reload this page. Perfect. So now if we check this, we could probably get wallet info maybe. We'll get this address. I wonder if it worked. Let's see. It should have worked. It should be added in there. Problem is, we haven't got the label correctly. Let's see what label we've got. Testnet. That's my address, not what I want here. Get address. We basically want to get address base from it, so I guess nothing happened because we didn't actually get a response here. Let's okay, yeah, so it's still getting something like it's rescanning. Let's restart this. Okay, yeah, wallet is currently rescanning apparently. Blockchain info. So I'm not sure why it thinks it's rescanning still. It could potentially be doing so. So I think whenever we add a watch-only address, it rescans basically. So that's the issue that we are currently suffering. So we just basically want to make a change to stop that from happening, which is fine. Let's get info. Let's do help. So we need to have a look at the RPC call. Something we didn't consider, but it makes sense. So that's why it's rescanning everything and going through all of the transactions in the history to make sure we see if we've got anything on there. Now we don't want to do that because we know that we're generating these addresses on the fly, so we don't want to rescan, which takes a lot of CPU usage and slows down everything. So what we want to do instead is, let's have a look. We're adding the address. Import address, okay. So import address, and we've got the label and rescan. Now we don't want to rescan it, so let's do Bitcoin help import address. It probably looks like rescan is set to true, so we want to set rescan to false. Alright, so we're gonna have to wait for this. Let's just do false here. Okay, and then we're just going to have to, I guess, wait until the rescanning is complete. Now that might take some time. Oh, there we go. It's done. So there you go. You can see we got the address through here, and if we have a look for, I guess we want to look at this order ID, but I'm not sure how we can do that. Let's just have a look anyway. See if we can get address info here. And yeah. Okay, so it's not mine, it's not watch only, so we're not adding it at all for some reason. Which is kind of annoying. I would have thought we would be adding it. Let's have a look at Mongo then. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's not payout address, it's payment address. Okay, so we got this order here. Let's have a look, see what we are getting. Let's have a look. So we want to get address info by address. Let's do get addresses by label. And what we might do is just give it a blank label. Wrong address. So the ID is 5B4A. I never got my copy and paste fixed, which is silly of me. Alright, so let's just change this up a little bit. Let's just add the label of watch, maybe, or order for the moment, and let's see how that plays out. Excuse me. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, we've got an order in there, so it should be a watch-only address. Oops, my bad. Let's copy that and get address info. Is watch only. Okay, so that's fine. So it's added that one in perfectly. So there we go. We got our addresses, and it's being added as a watch only address to our daemon. You'll notice we're not importing the private key of this because we don't want that. That's kind of insecure, especially as it's running on the internet. Okay, so what's next? Next thing we want to do is basically check our TX mempool. Oh well, we don't really need to check our TX mempool, but what we want to do is we want to finish what we started, so let's have a look at these scripts. So, sorry, a bit of a brain fart there. Alright, so we've got our two scripts here, and we basically just want to make sure that when we see a confirmation come through on our wallet, we basically ping that off to our... Let's do this. We ping that off to our server. So what we're going to do is just create some JSON here. Based on the parameter that will get passed in. Okay, should be good. Then we'll just do curl h set application /JSON /h content type equals application /JSON d equals data x equals post. HTTP localhost 3000 / blockchain / wallet. Oh yeah, we'll just do wallet. Okay, so that's just posting basically that we've got something on here. We can do wallet notify. I think it's kind of a nicer name. Let's update our API. Perfect, and then we'll do block notify as well. Alright, so let's do console.log test. Or let's do console.log ctx.request body. All right, so we're just going to log this. Now we've got the address here. We're just going to do some testing with this. So I like to go to the Bitcoin testnet 3 faucet at testnet.coinfaucet.eu. I don't know if you can see that. Let's show this up. Here we go. So this is the faucet. So we can just paste this in, which is the address. Sorry, I didn't have this up and running beforehand, so I was just showing this stuff here. All right, so let's just do this capture quickly. Select all these squares. Done. Done, done. Probably going to fail this because capture is a nightmare. Cool. Okay, so cool. Click get bitcoins. Let's see if it does that. And I wonder if anything happened. Let's have a look, shall we? Doesn't look like anything happened. Let's try it again. Do another capture. Okay, so this time we did get them in. Did anything else occur though? That's the main question. So we did definitely get the transaction, and it doesn't look like our wallet notify worked. Nope. Because we didn't get /wallet notify come through. All right, so the next thing we can do is we can just test our script. So we'll just do .-wallet notify. Hello. Okay, it's not found. That's probably what the issue is. Let's fix that script then. So it should be, okay, so /API, we need to remember to do that. All right, let's try that again. Okay, perfect. So we got that through this time, and we got the transaction ID of hello. So let's see if we can do this again, and see if we'll get anything through this time. Always better to test the script locally. All right. And this time we got a transaction ID of nothing, which is not great. But it's better than not. So let's see why we got a transaction ID of nothing. Yeah. So at least we're definitely getting stuff coming through, but we're not getting our transaction ID, which is a little annoying. So let's have a look and figure out that why. Okay. So it's probably something to do with the way that we're calling the run daemon. So let's have a look. So there's probably a something we're missing. Let's have a look. Ah, so we're on news. That's not going to help, is it? So I'm just trying to find some guidance on how to do it. Okay, so we probably want to just put the $S in here, I think. Let's try that. It's probably where we've gone wrong. All right, let's stop it and run it again. Daemon. Okay, let's try one more time. Let's get rid of this, get rid of this. All right, well, there's a solution here. Because we've withdrawn too much from the faucet, I know it's bad practice, and you probably only want to withdraw once, but let's try again. Okay, so let's see what happened this time. This time we got the transaction ID coming through, also got it through a few other times. Perfect. Good job. So now that we've got the transaction ID, what can we do with this? Okay, let's have a look. Const txid equals ctx.request.body.txid. We're just going to change it to be txid, I think. Makes a little bit more sense than transaction ID. And it's more uniform. Okay, so we get the transaction ID. Now we just want to basically get details from that. So what we can do is, if you'll see, if I go get raw transaction, or maybe even get transaction on, oh, that's kind of annoying actually. Yeah, here we go, so just copy this. You can see it gets all the information. If I do without get raw transaction or get transaction, it gives me the information, and it kind of, well, it doesn't actually tell me. If we do that, I can see the address that it's coming through. So that's what we kind of want to do in the amount. Okay, so we're going to use this. So let's add to our controller. And then we're going to do exports.check transaction tx. And we probably just want to get the orders here. So const orders equals require. So orders, we don't have a transaction ID associated with it. So it's something we might want to have a look at adding. So in your orders model, just put txid, just type equals string. Okay, perfect. We've got the address anyway, so it doesn't matter too much, but we'll just do this. Or do we want to do it there? No, I don't think we do. I think the order model should stay like it is. What we'll do is we'll create a transactions model as well. So we'll go here, we'll just do transactions. We're not going to have any roots in this one, we'll just do a model.js. Okay, let's do this. Const mongoose require mongoose const Right. And then we'll put an address in as well, and we want that to be type string required true, and we'll put an amount, which can be type number required true. And we don't care about timestamping really too much in this one, but doesn't hurt to have it. Okay, const transaction equals require equals mongoose.model transaction schema exports.default equals transaction. Alright, so we just added in the transaction basically. Now let's do this. Const transaction equals. So, okay, I don't want to call this check transaction. I think we should call it on transaction. Const transaction equals require transactions model.js or model, that'll do. And then we probably want something called confirmations as well, I think. Confirmations. But I guess we can get the confirmations from our RPC methods. It does say confirmations there 0, so that's all we really care about. We could just put status, yeah, status I think is good. We'll do that as in type string, equals unconfirmed and confirmed. And what we're going to do is, yeah, that's fine. Unconfirmed and confirmed. That's all we care about for the moment. We'll just put default equals unconfirmed. Perfect. Do we want default? I think required. True is better. Okay, so we've got our transaction model now, and this is just going to store some information that we don't have to keep broadcasting to the blockchain to get. So we get the transaction ID. We got transactions here. We want to do const order as well, equals require dot trans orders. And we can just do a model as well. I don't care too much about keeping it within the controller for this tutorial. We kind of just want to sort of show it, and I guess you guys will be adapting to your own database and stuff. Okay, so we get the transaction in from the wallet notify. Let's get the actual information from this. So const coin service require. All right, perfect. Let's get the coin service out of there. Let's add async get transaction. And we'll just put the TXID in here. Do return this.client.request. So you can see we're basically still getting the transaction IDs popping through, and I guess that's when it's getting confirmed and stuff like that. Okay, this.client.request. Perfect. So that's all we want for this. Oh yeah, we got to return the result. Okay, so then in our blockchain controller, what we can do first of all is we want to just see if a transaction exists. So we're just going to change this to be index and unique equals true. So we want the unique, we basically want it to be unique. So first of all, what we're going to do is transaction equals transaction.find 1, and we'll do txid. Make sure we'll wait for that as well, because we need it to be okay. Then we want to do const tx, I think, equals await find service get transaction txid. Okay, so we get the transaction and we've got our internal storage as well for it. If transaction, let's do if not transaction actually. Now I might just do this as a var. I don't usually like doing vars, but it's fine for the moment. Transaction equals await transaction. Oh, actually, don't need this. We can still have this const else. All right. So let's have a look. We've got our confirmations. What we want to do is just basically check those. If we do that again, you can see we've got 2 confirmations. We'll probably have it so it's maybe 2 or 3. 3 is 30 minutes, but I think 2 is fine for the moment. But we're going to touch that on a different one, so we're just going to ignore that. If we don't have the transaction, we're just going to create one. So we'll do await transaction.create. Okay. Transaction.create txid equals txid. Amount equals tx dot details. We do details dot 0. Dot amount. And the address as well. Get that information that we want, and the status equals unconfirmed. Okay, so we're just going to do const status equals tx dot confirmations greater than 2 confirmed or unconfirmed. And we're going to set that in a config as well. So we're just going to do confirmations required. And this is basically how many blocks have been written on top. So 1 confirmation, it's been written to the top, the head of the blockchain. 2 confirmations is a block. Another block has been written on top of that. 3 is 2 blocks have been written on top of that. I'd go for possibly 3 or 6. We're using 0 confirmation to confirm that we've seen the transaction, but you shouldn't release any product to the customer. So you want to take like an email address or something like that, but you shouldn't release that to the customer unless you have at least 3 or 6 confirmations, because it's much harder to rewrite the history of the blockchain when you get to that certain level. 6 is considered immutable. I mean, you know, you can go as 100 and there's just no way it's ever going to be rewritten. So, you know, your mileage will vary. It takes roughly around 10 minutes for each confirmation. So 6 is like an hour before they receive their product. So you want to kind of balance this. So let's do ours for 3, I think. 3 is fine. Okay. Now we're going to add this sort of, we're just going to basically reuse this on transaction, I think. Well, no, we're gonna leave it here. I think, yeah, I think it should be all right. We're just because we want it. Yeah, this should be fine actually. All right, so we're just gonna do that. tx.confirmations is greater than. Let's just do less than. Config required configuration const confirmations. And what do we have it as? Confirmations required. Let's just reuse that. And we're just going to parse int on that one. parse int. Okay, fine. And then if it's less than confirmations, it can be unconfirmed or confirmed if it isn't. So there we go, that should be fine. And then we just make sure we set the status here, so status. Okay, so that's basically if it's on transaction and we see it, we just want to make sure we've got that written. If we do already have it, I guess that's probably when it's been written with one confirmation. So we only see the first confirmation and this confirmation. That would do for the moment. I think we'll add something a little bit more, a little bit more in there later on. But okay, so once we've seen the transaction and we've got it, we then want to just basically get the address. So let's do const t equals that, fine. Then we want to get the order by the address, so order.const order equals order.find1, and we'll do it by the address, I think, which is t.address. If order, we're going to also use socket.io here, so const socket.io equals const socket equals require. Again, this is a bit of a longer session than I wanted it to be, but we're covering basically the real meaty part of the confirmations here. So okay, so socket.io.emit. Okay, so how do we emit this? So we need to emit this now. I'm just going to get some notes up for here. We need to emit it to the room ID, which is slightly different than we've done before. I did have the notes open for this, but I closed them stupidly, so sorry about that. Okay, so front end API. All right, so we join the room, if I remembered correctly, and when we get an update on that room, we want to distribute out. So we want to admit to a room number. I'm just going to Google this one because it's kind of interesting how I've got up my notes. It's slightly different. All right, I found it, I believe. Okay, yes, it's socket.io.2. Yep, to the order ID. And then we'll just do room.emit tx scene. I think that'll do. All right, so we can leave that for the moment. Let's see if we actually get this transaction through. So I'm using a wallet called Electrum. You can use whichever wallet you want. Beforehand, I was just using this. That will work absolutely fine, but you want to make sure you send the amount. We also need to do a check for the amount as well. So make sure we do that here. So if order.amount equals t.amount, then transaction scene else room. Or actually, we can do order.amount is greater than or less than or equal to. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Room.emit tx error tx small Okay, so that's fine. So we got tx scene and tx small, tx fine. We'll do tx under, I think. Tx error would be okay, and you can just omit an error. Tx okay. And I guess you could put like an error message in here. Error. You know, not enough in transaction. You would handle, you know, we're not going to handle too much of the errors on this one, but you would basically handle the error and make sure you send that back. And then, you know, updated your UI however you wanted to do it, but we're not going to do that on ours. Okay, so what we're going to do here is in our components for our crypto point of sale. Yep, so we got states here, we got the different state. Now, if you remember though, we did do handle update. So we may just probably do that again, actually. We'll just reuse that. So we can just do tx room.emit update. And you could just do update here as well, but for error. State equals error. Let's do state equals 0 conf, I think we can do. Or C. We'll just do receive. And then your backend would handle once you've gone over your confirmations, and we'll just do that basically, but we won't actually be able to do anything. We're just going to update the front end on this one, and then next time we'll just, you know, explain sort of how you would go about updating it with a bit of an example. And what did we set that update to? Received. And we also spelled received wrong. We will send your ebook once we have 3 confirmations. Whatever you want to put here, and then we'll just do something for error. Switch div. Error. And error occurred. Please contact support with order ID. We'll just do order.id. That should be fine. All right, so let's send it. Let's restart basically our Bitbooks flow. Okay, cool. We got the address here. Let's do that. Let's send. Now you could use I mean, I would recommend using the 0.00176632. I would definitely recommend using the oh, it's pretty awful. Alright, let's just send that and see. So yeah, I would recommend using the QR code for sending this. Let's have a look, see what actually happened here. So we got TXID of FBA, which should be correct. I wonder why we didn't get a... What we got here? So it looks like our notification system didn't go through properly. However, we are in Mega Bitcoin, so I've probably got the view wrong. Let's, yeah, I've got the view wrong. So that would have been a small amount that came through, not the correct amount. So let's have a look. Let's do base unit in Bitcoin. Okay. Yep, that's better. So I basically had the wrong amount of Bitcoin for sending that. So let's try it again, shall we? Now, I'm just going to put some logging in here because I want to see that everything's coming through. Okay. We're seeing the states coming through, that's fine. Good. Let's try and send this again with the correct amount this time, because we didn't send it last time with the correct amount. Alright, send. Okay, pay to paste. And the amount is going to be 00176,562. Send. Okay, 00176,562. Yes. Payment sent. Okay, perfect. Nothing came through, and that's probably because we aren't actually doing anything. Yeah, that's the issue. Alright, let's try it again. Import const controller equals require dash controller. See, I messed up a little bit there. Sorry, guys. Okay. No, we don't have to wait here if we don't want to. We can probably just return early, that's fine. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, timestamps is not defined. What did we put for the other things? Timestamps true. Okay, what have we got? The field. Yeah. So, yeah, we got a bunch of errors coming through. Alright, cool. Let's see. Cool, everything's working now. Can we clear this? Yeah. Alright, let's see what happens. We should get something through this time. It might take a little while because we're going to have to wait for everything to come through. So let's basically just refresh the page, I think. Alright, copy that, and we'll send it again. We will get there. 365. Alright, send. Yes. Payment sent. Okay, so this time we've got another transaction that came through, and we've got a bunch of errors this time. Cool. Exports.onTransaction. Transaction.findOne is not a function. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's because it's module.exports. So you can see why we want to be using testnet for this, because we're basically playing around. We're testing a lot of stuff that we got messed up. Normally I would use unit tests, and I would recommend anybody else doing so to do so, because unit tests tend to be slightly nicer, a little bit more forgiving, and you don't have to open up Electron and keep sending basically. All right. Okay, what did we get this time? We got another error. Get transaction is not available. Yep, that's because we need it to be capitalized. Alright, we're almost there. Let's try it one last time. I might have to send myself some more testnet coins. Alright, what happened this time? Okay, so it looks like we got further. Room is not defined. This is in our controller here. So we got an error basically. Okay. And that's because we haven't waited for this. So those are the two issues we got here. So it's just coding issues at the moment. Alright. And it, it's going to make sense because this is the chunkier bit of work. So let's do pay to again. Copy, paste, send. Yes. Okay. So this time it looks like it may have worked, although we didn't get the update waiting for confirmation, which is a bit annoying. But we got the amount through. So it looks like the order is null for some reason. Ah, that's why it's null. So we want to do payout address or payment address. Okay. Almost there. Alright, let's do this. And this. And we'll send. Yes. Okay. Come on this time. This time we're going to be good. There we go. So you can see here we've got a payment received. We'll send your ebooks once we have 3 confirmations. So sorry about the end there. It was a little bit of a trolling error, but basically it's working nicely with our socket IO. Our coin daemon is receiving the coins and updating. And then the next thing we want to do is basically do some internal updating. So we'll add something in for that shortly. So we'll do that in the next session. Basically, we just make sure that we're updating our internal databases, and in the case of our thing, sending out our ebook, even though we don't actually have that in place, but we're going to pretend that we do, or at least releasing it to the account. We're just going to, comment a line. So that should help you when implementing this in your own system. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Bit of a long session, this one, I know, but we got through a lot of stuff that we needed to do, and basically the core sort of components. So I'll catch you next time. Hi everyone, so welcome to session 10. So this is the final session on how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So what we're going to be doing in this session is we kind of mainly touched on the most parts we want to do, but we want to just sort of look at making sure we've got enough confirmations to do sending out the product, or updating the status of the user's order or things like that. We kind of update on everything else. Some of the things we could have touched upon, but we've left sort of for you to sort of work in your own system is error handling. So if there's an error, you want to make sure you show that to the customer. Hopefully you'll have some sort of account authentication process as well, so you can actually get in contact with them in case of an error and things like that, or distributing their order. But in BigBook's case, it's just a bit of a shell website, so we don't have those features. It was just more as a proof of concept. But one thing we do want to do is definitely subscribe to block notifications, which we're going to do in this session. Okay, so remember we did this /block notify. So we want to basically get the block hash here. So const hash equal block hash equals ctx.request body block hash. Okay. Okay, so controller dot. Let's do on block, and we'll just pass in the block hash. So let's go to our original block notify.sh. Let's open up the wallet notify as well, so we didn't add this. Alright, so it's pretty much the same concept here, except for we're just going to do Alright. So we're just basically filling out the same stuff as we had before. JSON. Sorry, I've decided to try and touch type my way through this one. So touch typing is fine when it comes to letters, but it's the symbols and numbers that really throw me off. So it's definitely good to practice that sort of stuff. Alright, so we've got API slash block chain slash wallet notify. But we're not doing wallet notify, we're doing block notify. Perfect. And we just want to check that we're passing that in here. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So in this case, what we want to do is we can just let's leave it like this. Okay, so in our controller, we've got on track on transaction. Let's do export dot on block equals async function or cache. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to basically, well, that's first thing, so we can leave this now, we can get rid of that. So there's a couple of things. First of all, we want to do here what happens if we do get an update on this. So I would personally just basically, if we've got the transaction, probably update the status if we can. So we'll just do the same thing. We'll do the confirmations is less than confirmations. And because we can do that, we can just put it out here. There we go. Then I do tx status equals transaction dot status. If status is not equal to tx status, wait transaction dot find one and update. You can update this however you want. It might be just easier to do this. I'm personally a fan of updating using the functions, not by calling save. It feels less functional to me, but we're just going to do this for time anyway. So okay, so if the status updates, then we'll update the status. Usually it won't happen. It will usually just tell you when you've got one confirmation. This the second call on this, but it's always good to just do this anyway. And then just do if order. Okay, if status equals confirmed, update the order, process the delivery, etc., etc. So whatever you want to do there, you do that. We'll just have a function here called I don't know, the async function. This is const. Let send out ebook equals async function order. And console.log, we send out the book. So send out book, if you've got whatever you've got for your business, that's kind of what you want to do there. So just do await send out book. And then we just want to send in the order. So let's also do okay, let's do this. Cool. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is what happens on every block. So on every block we want to, we could basically look in the block and look at the transaction. Well, no, we can't do that. What we want to do instead is we want to just get all our unconfirmed transactions and just recheck their confirmations. So we'll just do const transactions equals await transaction find one tx id. Okay, so we just basically, that's not right, we just want to find them all, sorry, and we want to do status of unconfirmed. Okay, so we get all our unconfirmed transactions, and we basically want to reuse a lot of this code that we've already got. In particular, this one here, which is just checking the confirmation. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this down to here, and we're going to move this to here. Now it's a little bit of reuse going on, but what we're going to do is just do const check transaction confirmations async function transaction. Okay, and then what we do here is just do check transaction, and we'll make sure we do it as a it's async already. So check transaction confirmations, and we'll just pass it the transaction, and we'll just call a wait on that. Okay, cool. So we just want to basically take all this out, put that in here. And there's a couple of other things we want to do. So we just want to basically copy this stuff here. Let's do that. So we just get the TX, we check the confirmations, then check our status against the confirmation status. If it's different, save it. Get the order. If it's confirmed, then we send it out. Now we can just probably put that in here because we don't need everything like that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is await. We don't even need to await really, but await promise all transactions.map tx, and we just return check. In fact, we can just do check transaction confirmations, and that should be it. So that's all you really want to do. You could probably move this stuff out as well, such as export or const create new transaction, and again you just want to use the txid here, and we'll just call it equals async function, just to keep everything looking good. Cool. And then just yank that here, put that there, and call it. Perfect. Okay, so that is basically everything you need to do. Then you just make sure you fill out everything here. So that kind of wraps it up. That's basically everything you want to do. As I said, if you want to access those funds, make sure you import them into an Electrum wallet using that seed that we generated, or even better, a hardware wallet like a Ledger or Trezor. But you only really need to access those funds if you're sending them out, because you're generating those addresses based on that HD phrase, or HD mnemonic seed. You are, in essence, just adding to your bank account with that. So there's no real need to actually do that. And if you've got the XPub, which we do have the XPub, you can check that on something like blockinfo.com or whatever, and that will access or get your funds for you. If you do want to test on the testnet like I've been doing, make sure you use the Electrum wallet, but initialize it with testnet. Have a Google, it will tell you how to do that. But yeah, that's it for this session. I hope, well, even for this series, I hope that sort of made sense to you. We did most of the hard part in the last two sessions. This was kind of just wrapping up and tidying up everything, and making sure everything worked properly. So thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next series.